you, Senator Rounds. Senator Hirono, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank all three of you for being here today, and especially for General Milley. Thank you very much for your 43 years of continuous service. I extend to you my thanks and respect. For Secretary Austin, investments in the military's infrastructure are directly correlated to our readiness and ability to execute deterrence. However, as the people of Hawaii saw from the disaster at Red Hill, military infrastructure also impacts our cities and towns. Fuel, chemical, and sewage spills have lasting impacts on our lands and erode the trust of service members and their communities. We must invest in the systems they rely on each day, basic things like pipelines, power grids, and barracks. Yet this year in Hawaii alone, there is over $500 million in unfunded infrastructure improvements on the service's unfunded priorities list. Secretary Austin, how is the department ensuring that infrastructure maintenance and modernization needs are met before disasters like Red Hill occur? And basically, don't we need to get more of these projects off unfunded priorities lists?
These are, to your point, Senator, requirements that are critical, and they should be met as soon as possible. In my budget, I've asked for $5.1 billion to increase operational effectiveness and survivability. Now, part of that has to do with the effects that are caused by climate, but nonetheless, you know, those effects are real effects, and so we will continue to invest in this. But to your point, services should invest in this to make sure that the infrastructure they need to support them is, in fact, you know, first rate. So.
Secretary Austin, you know that I have been very much focused on those kinds of infrastructure needs. What comes out of our pipes? So with the electricity staying on, those continue to capture my attention, and be assured that I will continue to focus on these issues and the needs being met. Mr. Secretary, in your tenure, you have issued several policies that increase service members' access to child care, which you have mentioned, institute parental leave, which is very popular, and ensure access to reproductive health care for all women, no matter where they are stationed. These are prudent changes that put our people first, and I appreciate your leadership on these issues. Secretary Austin, how did you identify these service member needs? And once those requirements were record, what was the process to implement updated policies?
Well, I talk to our troops. I talk to the family members. You know, as I go around the country and around the world, you know, I'm very much interested in what their challenges are and how we can do things to make life better for them. And with your help, we've been able to do some things. And that includes the things that you've mentioned, Senator, but also the pay raises, the raise in BAH and BAS. And we're asking you for another pay raise this year, probably the biggest pay raise for our troops and civilians in decades. But that's how I get the input, by engaging the troops and the family members.
You have been heavily criticized for your decisions to enable particularly women service members to attain reproductive health. And I, for one, commend you for that. And I want you to stay the course. In the same vein of wanting to support our service members, I do want to mention that there is the potential for significant cuts to the cost of living of Hawaii service members. And I've noted this before. And I think that these huge cuts for Hawaii service members are unjust and unfair. And I hope that there will be a reconsideration of that decision. I also want to note, I have been asking about missile defense of Hawaii for quite some time. I had a productive meeting yesterday with leaders from your staff about their roles in and plans for the current and future missile defense of Hawaii. While there is certainly more work to be done to establish and execute a long-term plan for the missile defense of Hawaii, I am encouraged to see the department treating this issue with the seriousness it demands. I remain focused on it, on the issue, as I request updates from your staff. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hirono.